Azurewrath has finally joined the realm in Forsaken's latest update, Azure's Arrival. Not only that, we have also gotten so much other cool content like coolkid's new milestones. As the star of the show though, almost nobody knows Azure's full story, the tragedies behind him, and what he endured all for love. Let's take a look at the investigation behind the Reborn, the cult which Azure, or more accurately, Aspen, was forced to take part in. We begin with a website that was found in the music video of And the Seraphim Wept, a website by the name of Aspen's Last Breath. The site details investigator Iris's notes and research into the Reborn, with 8 total entries, spanning 7 days, from the 11th to the 17th, in an unspecified year and month. The first entry, on the 11th, begins with investigator Iris, who I will now be referring to as just Iris, explaining that at her current workplace, a trail of disappearances has mysteriously been occurring, with many reports exclaiming that Robloxians were last seen within the woods she currently resides in. She notes that while doing fieldwork, she came across a walled village. She also explains that there is no movement in or out of the village apart from a cart that brings supplies back and a person who gathers firewood. She ends it by noting that she hears activity within the village walls, so she can't go on today. The next entry on the 12th begins with Iris explaining that she set up an outpost on a cliff. She notes that the village has many buildings built for specific purposes, but also that most of them are starting to show their age. She also explains that she's been able to identify 3 reoccurring faces, naming them individual A through C. A, the firewood gatherer mentioned in entry 1, aka Two-Time, individual B with blue-grayish clothing, aka Elder Amara, and finally, individual C, the village herbalist, Aspen. Iris then notes that she is going to be leaving for now to format her notes, also mentioning that all the admins of Roblox have disappeared, and it's been increasingly dangerous because of that. She ends by stating that there doesn't seem to be a connection between the disappearances and the village. Entry 3 on the 13th is a wild one. Iris noticed Aspen and Two-Time sneaking out into a small flower field, and she approached them slowly to eavesdrop on their conversation. She begins an audio log and mentions that she is #closing in her own words. The conversation is quite inaudible, but from what I can gather, Aspen talks about leaving the village, and Two-Time starts explaining the Reborn's beliefs. Unfortunately, Iris leaned a bit too close and managed to step on a twig, causing Aspen and Two-Time to both run back to the village. Iris notes that she doesn't know what the spawn has to do with 2x2, which is one of the most sacred aspects of Robloxia, because it's essentially the creator of Roblox. Without it, Robloxians and Robloxia would be nothing. She still questions if the disappearances are somehow related to the village, and ends by stating that she will observe Elder Amara on the next day. Come the next day, the 14th, Iris notes that Amara spends hours within the church of the village, also confirming that they are a higher-up. They walked around, comforting and speaking with the villagers. Two-Time attempted to spark up a conversation with Amara, but they were brushed aside for another villager. Later in the night, Amara caught a sermon and lectured the villagers. After the sermon, all the villagers were told to return to their homes. Amara had also went into the back of the church alone, ensuring that no one saw. Unfortunately, Aspen had been watching them through a window. Iris suspects that there's something in the side of the church and continues her pursuit into the cult. She hopes that there is still some connection between it and the disappearances, and just then, she is cut off and the document publishes itself. We find out on the 15th that the wind had picked up, causing Iris's laptop to fall over the edge of the cliff she is set up at, mentioning that she spent the rest of the 14th transferring her files. She explains a little about the villagers, and notes that their supply car actually tipped over in the morning. She investigated after they had left and saw a notebook left behind. Unfortunately, the notebook had fallen into a puddle. However, she managed to scan one of the pages, and reading through the text, she notes that it feels like a complete mockery of 2x2. She explains that their ideology speaks of renewal after death, how the spawn is a child of 2x2, and will guide them through both this and their next lives. She discovers that the religion, more accurately, the cult's name is the family home for the Reborn, or the Reborn for short. She explains that anyone inside is taught to fear the outside, and that every full moon there is a banquet that is held for the chosen, who is given an opportunity to be worthy, whatever that means. She also notes that she wrote down a far longer overview in another tab. The overview goes over most of the information we already know, but Iris straight up calls the Reborn a horrible cult, and notes that the villagers have no free will and are taught that they must be forgiven and reborn, and to always listen to the elders, showing that there is more than just Amara. As Amara was speaking to a villager who was covered up by their robes, Two-Time had panicked. Iris notes that if not interacting with either Amara or Aspen, Two-Time was always full of anxiety. Iris ends the day off by mentioning that Aspen has been staring the whole time. Come the 16th, Iris spends the entire day watching Aspen, and Aspen spends most of his time in the greenhouse, tending to all the flowers and greenery that they have. He constantly stares at both Two-Time and Amaro through the glass of the greenhouse. On the 17th, Iris attached an audio file which contains the following.
Hey, this is hashtag rushed as hell, but I saw individual C enter the basement. They argued with individual A before booking it to the hashtag cute flower field. I'm trying to hashtag take a look, but it's hard to see. Individual A is trailing behind individual C with a knife. What the fuck is that? It is that symbol. I have to take a
At the end, if put through a spectrogram, there is hidden text. Hidden text that states, "The laptop was found at the bottom of a cliff. Iris was not found." If you put the word obituary at the end of the website's URL, you can find a hidden text that includes Aspen's thoughts in their last breath. It talks about how much he loved Two-Time, how their eyes were closed, praying to nothing, how nobody ever chose him, how he left his home because of his bastard he has to call a father. Just as he thinks he's unlovable, he says they are both puppets. And funny enough, we then get text from presumably our favorite monster, the Spectre, essentially saying how he will revive him, and it gives him the new name, Azurewrath. Okay, I want to try to make sense of everything now, so this is all my own theory from now on. So, it's probably not canon, but it's the most likely explanation from me. Aspen likely joined the Reborn to avoid his family after escaping them. They were found by Two-Time, who somehow got him to join, as he had nothing at that point. They slowly fell in love with each other, and Aspen at some point wanted to leave, knowing full well that it's a cult. Unfortunately, Two-Time, being manipulated by Elder Amara since they were a little kid, didn't want to. I think that Two-Time explained the practices and beliefs of the Reborn, as on the 13th, Two-Time started drawing on a piece of paper and talking about 2x2. This is also likely what happened again on the 16th, where Two-Time was studying with Aspen in the flower field, a location they both seemed to enjoy. For the audio log, it is my belief that the Spectre took Two-Time, Aspen, and Iris into the realm, and as the entire lobby area was changed to accommodate for Azur's arrival, alongside the village of the Reborn literally being a map within the realm, the Spectre really took everything. Aspen wanted love, true companionship, and died thinking that he was the issue, that he was unlovable. Despite everything, I still believe Aspen loves Two-Time, but due to the Spectre's manipulation, or the hat itself, he is unable to show it. Because the Spectre turned Aspen into Azurafh, and now, at least as he's been resurrected and turned into a killing machine, he can pay back Two-Time. Even if it isn't ultimately what he wants, the Spectre won't let him do otherwise. And that's the true story of Azurewrath. Aspen, doomed to love someone who can't reciprocate, ended up dying and being sent to his worst nightmare, turning into a bloodthirsty monster and ending up as nothing more. Thank you for watching.
All you do is drugs, you're like the sex